Okay, so this is our database, this is the courses which we are offering, these are departments what we have, and the other students what we have. So Alice and Ben are in department number 1, and these two, Charles and Dom, are in department number 2. Okay, so now I want to make a repository. So earlier we had this department repository, but that was in the form of an interface, right? It just had methods which we are using on the JPA repository. Now I want this department repository to be a class, and I want to fetch details of one single department, and I want to fetch details of all departments. So while fetching details of one department, I will pass the department name, and it will give me details of all that department. So what all details it will give me, we can see in the controller, in the entity. So it will give me the department number, department name, and the list of students who are studying in that department. Okay, so if I pass one name, so if I pass commerce, so it will give me details of all the details of the commerce department. So department number 1, department name commerce, and all those students whose department number is 1 in a list of objects. So it will give me Alice's record, it will give me Ben's record. Okay, so let's try to do that. So we go to a controller, and we will try to, as it is a get, right, we are fetching, so it will be a get mapping. So what we will do is get students by department name. Okay, so and what will be passed to it, the D name, right, which will be a string. And then the student service, we will make a function with the same name, and then we can pass this. Okay, so this will come from the front end, and this is my Java variable. So whenever I will pass the service, I will pass this. Okay. So now this method does not exist. So to create it, go over there and you will say create the method. Okay, so in the student service, it has gone over there. Actually should have gone into department service rather, right? So because we have called the object, we have called it using the student service, so it has gone over there. So I want to call it using the department service. So I'll auto wire one object of department service also. I have object of department service, so I go here and I call the method using this object. Okay, so now this will now create this method in the department service. Okay, and now this department service I want to now plug to the, I'll make a class. So in the repository, I have a department repository right now as an interface, but now I want to make a class. Okay, so that we can see how JDBC template works with one single object and how JDBC template works with multiple objects. Okay, so query for object we had done last time, that would return me one single record from the database. And what if I want to fetch multiple records? That is what is today's agenda. So I make a class now. Yes,
सर क्लास क्यों बना रहे डिपार्टमेंट की? इंटरफेस से भी हो
क्योंकि कॉर्पोरेट्स में है ना, कंपनीज में अपने को ज़्यादा करके कस्टमाइज क्वेरी लिखनी पड़ती है, जिसमें 2-3 टेबल्स को अपने को मर्ज करना पड़ता है। जब वो मर्जिंग का काम आ जाता है ना, तब फिर वो अपना JPA रिपोजिटरी में उतने फीचर्स नहीं मिलते जो अपने SQL के अंदर है, अपने खुद के कस्टमाइज के अंदर। समझा? तो इसके लिए अपन जब क्लास लिख देते हैं, तो फिर हम जब JDBC टेम्पलेट यूज करते हैं तो अपने को जो मर्जी अपन वो क्वेरी को एग्जीक्यूट कर सकते हैं। तो अक्सर कंपनीज में आप देखोगे कि क्लास रहता है रिपोजिटरी का, इंटरफेस नहीं रहता है। तो अपन दोनों फ्लेवर को वो देख ले रहे हैं ना, हम क्लास भी देख ले रहे हैं और JPA रिपोजिटरी भी देख ले रहे हैं। रिपोजिटरी भी तो अपना कमांड अच्छे से हो गया ना अभी। JPA रिपोजिटरी के तो अपने को समझ में आ गया ना फीचर्स कैसे काम करते हैं। तो अभी अपन अपना एक्सपेरिमेंट को बढ़ा के इसमें भी अपना हैंड्स ऑन कर रहे हैं, तो अपने को मल्टीपल आंसर मिल जाते हैं एक क्वेश्चन के, राइट? देन वी कैन गो बाय द लॉ ऑफ मंसूर इन द इंटरव्यू. So if the interviewer asks how can we achieve this, so you can tell like, there are multiple ways of doing it. You can use the JPA repository also by making an interface, or you can make a class also, and in the class use the JDBC template. Right? नहीं समझ में आ रहा?
समझा सर।
समझा ना? हाँ, ये अपन ने एक ऐसी सादी सी क्लास बना लेते हैं उसके अंदर बस, ठीक है? तो पर अपनी ये क्लास अपना किसका काम करेगी? ये क्लास करेगी अपना रिपोजिटरी का काम, है ना? तो ये क्लास काम करेगी रिपोजिटरी का, तो क्या बोलेंगे इसको अपन, क्या नोट करेंगे?
रिपोजिटरी।
यस। तो कंट्रोल स्पेस बार दिया तो वो अपने को ऑप्शन देता है, तो अपना ये रिपोजिटरी का काम करेंगे, ठीक है? अब मुझे जाना है, इस क्लास का ऑटोवायर मुझे बनाना है। तो मेरे सर्विस में मुझे इस क्लास का ऑटोवायर बनाना है। तो when I go to student service, no, when I go to student service and I want to department by name, तो मुझे इसको ये वाला रिपोजिटरी यूज नहीं करनी है, मुझे यूज करनी है ये वाली रिपोजिटरी। तो मैं कर दूंगा स्टूड रिपो CL और इसको ऑटोवायर कर दूंगा, और इसको इंपोर्ट कर लूँगा। ओके, अब ये स्टोर्ड रिपो CL का मैं फंक्शन कॉल करूंगा टू फेच द डिटेल्स ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट। तो ये हम लोग कंट्रोलर में क्या कर रहे हैं, ये अपने को क्या देगा, गेट स्टूडेंट बाय डिपार्टमेंट नेम। तो देयर विल बी अ लिस्ट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स, राइट? ओके, करेक्ट। अपने को क्या करना है, ये डिपार्टमेंट डिटेल्स करना है, गेट स्टूडेंट बाय, तो आई वांट टू गेट ऑल द डिटेल्स ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट, गेट डिपार्टमेंट बाय नेम करेंगे। क्या करेंगे, गेट डिपार्टमेंट डिटेल्स बाय नेम। तो मैं क्या करूँगा, ओके, इसको अपन यूज कर देंगे CL से बनाया। And this will return me one single department. This is what I was checking. It will return me one single. So when I give it the name, it will return me that department details. Okay, so create one method. Create one method. Remove this method. So get department by name. And now don't use this repo. Now you're in department service, right? So department service I have to auto wire and then use that object. Now use this object, and in this object you can make a method. You can say get department details. This method is not there over there, so let's create this. So now here I create this. So how will we do that now over here? So here I will be needing the JDBC template. So and now using this JDBC template I will execute a query. So what will be the query to execute? If I want to fetch details of one single department, yes, select star from, what is the table name? Department. Okay, where, what is the, where d name equal to question mark. Okay, and we will pass this question mark as a argument. Okay, so this class is, what am I using? I'm using JDBC template, and it will give me one single object, right? So I will say query for object, query for object, and it will give me a single object. Okay, so now I showed which query am I passing, this query, and then to map this I will require a department mapper. So I will say new department mapper. This I will create, and the first, this has only one argument. This first argument will be as what, d name. Okay, so like this you have to pass. This method is now no more used, deprecated, query for object. Okay, so now I need to create this department mapper. So I need to create this class. Do we have the department mapper class? So I made a util package, right? I made a util package. In that I will create department mapper. So I go to util package, new, create a class by what name? Department mapper. Okay, and this will implement the RowMapper. So finish it. This implements RowMapper. Okay, RowMapper of Spring Core. And of which class am I? This T is for that class for which I am making the RowMapper. So I am making it for the department class. Okay, and now we have to override this unimplemented method, and that method is called map_row. If I click over here, add unimplemented methods. Okay, map_row. Okay, so I will be returning a type of object. So here I will make a object of that class which I will be returning. So department D is new department, and then I will say return D and import this. And now whatever that record will come, whatever this record will come in this RS, I will add it to this. So what we can do is D dot, so first what do we set D number. So from where will I get the D number? From rs dot get int and first column. Okay, in rs the column index start from 1, not from 0. the one which we had in JDBC. And now if I want to set the number I have got, set the name, that will come from rs dot set string which index 2 get. Okay, and now I have not set the employee list, because when I am asking for an object of department, if I ask for object of department, what will it give me? It will give me the D number and D name, and it will also give me the list of students. Okay, that I have not set yet, so that I will set in my repository. So department mapper, and once I have set the D number and D name, I return this D. This D comes to where we were at the department repository CL. Okay, import this department mapper, it is telling. And now once I have got that over here, I have to set the list of employees, right? So this and this all I will store where? This all I will store in a department object. Department. So whatever will come from here will come in this department object. Okay. Now this DPT has the D number set, has the D name set, does not have the list of employees set. Okay. So for that I will make a list of what? Students. Stud list equals to. Okay, so now if I want to fetch the students by department number, I will pass the department number and it will give me the list of students. So do we have any such API? Do we have any such API which gets student by department ID? Get by department. Here we have this by department ID. Okay. So I am creating this. So now I have an endpoint to get the student by their department ID. Okay, so this endpoint I have created, and in my student service I have made this method to which I will pass the department number and it will give me the list of students in that department. Okay, and then in the student repo I have made a function called by find by department ID, to which I will pass the department number and it will give me list of students, and this is my method. Okay, find by department ID. So I can call this find by department ID method over here in my class to give me the list of all employees in that department. So if when I go to my class, the department repository class, okay, so now if I want to get the list of students of this particular department, okay, so here I will read the object of this my department repository class. We will need a auto wire of my department repository, my this student repository in which I had created that object. So this object is in student repository, right? Find by department ID. So I will need this method. I will need to call this method. So to call this method, I need to take a auto wire of this. I'll take a auto wire of this over here. Stud repo, and I'll auto wire it. And of this stud repo, I will call which function? Repo dot find. What was the name of the method? Where is my stud repository? I will call this find by department ID. In my department class, I will say department ID. And from where will I get the department ID from? So of this object department, I will say department dot get the number, and I will pass that to it. Okay, so it will give me the, okay, so import both of them. Why would you want to create it? Import it, right? Import util and import student. Okay, and student report dot. Okay, and this will give me the list of, and now what list of the students I have got over here, I will set that to the department. Okay, so to this department I will say now, so I had set the, in the mapper I had set the d number and d name, and I had to set the list of employees that I am setting over here. So the third thing which I have to set is set student list, and that I can set the student list, and then I can return this entire department. So now when I call this method, it will return me the entire department along with the list of students who are working in that department. Okay, now let me go and play this first, and then we will. Mhm. Okay, now I'll go to my API doc and create an endpoint which will help me to get this. So what is the endpoint we are creating? Okay, the endpoint which we are creating is, okay, so now let's try to create a endpoint. Okay, so I take this and I tell add a API which will be a get mapping, and it will be get department by get student.
So screen.
शेयर तो किया मैंने. ओके,
No, so like
गेट
that.
डिपार्टमेंट बाय डी, इसको मैंने क्या कर दिया, इसका एंड पॉइंट क्या था, CL था ना, इसका जो एंड पॉइंट था वो क्या था, गेट डिपार्टमेंट बाय नेम CL, गेट डिपार्टमेंट बाय नेम CL, वही नाम दे दिया इसको. ओके, और इसको से ये किस पे जाएगी, डिपार्टमेंट वाले फोल्डर में जाएगी, सेव करेंगे. ओके, इसका आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या है, डी नेम है. तो जब रन करेंगे, सेंड करने से पहले डी नेम पास कर देंगे, और डी नेम क्या पास करेंगे, कॉमर्स. कॉमर्स जब मैं पास करूँगा और सेंड करूँगा तो इसने मुझे, चालू होगा था ना एप्लीकेशन ना, एप्लीकेशन चालू हो गया था ना, हाँ चालू हो गया था, अभी रन हो रहा है ये, और उसने मुझे सारे कॉमर्स के डेटा दिखा दिया, नंबर भी, नेम भी, और स्टूडेंट लिस्ट ऑफ कॉमर्स भी. ठीक है, अगर मैं इसको कर देता हूँ साइंस, तो मुझे ये साइंस का डेटा दे देगा. ऐसे हम लोग खेल सकते हैं.